The emergency session had been called at 300 Galactic Standard Time, but Chancellor Vex Thara knew that desperate times demanded desperate measures. The holographic displays surrounding the council chamber painted a picture of systematic collapse, trade routes severed, defense pacts dissolving, entire sectors sliding into anarchy. "Status report," she commanded, her crystalline voice echoing through the nearly empty chamber. Only the inner circle remained now. The outer delegates had fled to protect their own territories. Admiral Kethvar of the Hegemony Fleet stepped forward, his proud bearing unable to conceal the defeat in his 6 eyes. The human exodus accelerated overnight. Long-range sensors confirm massive fleet movements from all major human installations. They're not just withdrawing, they're evacuating. On the main display, streams of data showed the methodical emptying of human space. Research stations, mining operations, diplomatic outposts, defense platforms, everything was being systematically abandoned or relocated beyond scanner range. "Evacuation to where?" demanded Chancellor Mordark, though his voice lacked its usual authority. "Unknown. Their ships vanish once they reach the Outer Rim territories. We believe they're using some form of advanced stealth technology we haven't encountered before." Dr. Feltar, who had spent the last month analyzing the cascade of failures across the galaxy, approached the central podium with the weight of terrible knowledge. "Chancellors, we need to face reality. The humans aren't just leaving, they're taking the galaxy's stability with them." The display shifted to show a timeline of recent events. Each human departure was marked in blue, followed by red indicators showing the subsequent collapse of local order. "Observe the pattern," Feltar continued. The Vorthan Trade Corridor human escort withdrawal was followed within hours by the largest pirate offensive in the sector's history. The Nexus border dispute without human mediators, both sides mobilized for war within days. The Kepler mining operation. "We understand the consequences," Vex Thara interrupted, but her tone suggested she was trying to convince herself as much as anyone else. "Do we?" Feltar's normally respectful demeanor cracked, "because the analysis suggests we fundamentally misunderstood what humans were doing in our galaxy. We saw them as aggressive, unpredictable, dangerous. We never realized they were the immune system." The analogy hung in the air like a toxic cloud. Immune system, the biological function that attacked threats, that used violence to preserve the greater organism's health. The function that sophisticated civilizations had evolved beyond, or so they believed. "Incoming priority transmission," announced the Chamber's AI system. "Origin, Human Diplomatic Corps, Earth." Ambassador Elena Vasquez materialized in the center of the chamber, but this wasn't the polished diplomat they remembered. She wore military fatigues instead of formal attire, and behind her, they could see the bustle of an evacuation in progress. "Chancellors," she said without preamble, "I'm transmitting our final status report as required by the non-interference accords we signed yesterday." Vex Thara leaned forward. "Ambassador, surely we can discuss. There's nothing to discuss." Vasquez's voice was calm but final. "The Terran Federation is implementing complete withdrawal from galactic affairs, as repeatedly requested by this council over the past 2 years. We're providing 72 hours notice per diplomatic protocol." "The galaxy is collapsing without your intervention," Mordark blurted out, abandoning diplomatic niceties. Vasquez's expression didn't change. "That's unfortunate, but it's not our problem anymore. You made it very clear that human solutions were unwanted, unrefined, and ultimately harmful to galactic civilization." She gestured to a datapad. "Our analysts estimate that stable governance will reassert itself within 50 to 70 years, once the various power struggles resolve themselves. Most of the current conflicts should burn themselves out when resources become too depleted to continue fighting." 50 years? Kethvar's voice was strangled. "Billions will die." "Yes, Vasquez agreed, matter-of-factly. But according to your own Cultural Advancement Index, those deaths will represent natural selection pressure favoring more enlightened approaches to conflict resolution. Isn't that what you wanted? The silence in the chamber was profound. They had wanted humanity to be less violent, less interventionist, less willing to impose solutions through force. They had gotten exactly what they asked for. What would it take, Vexthera asked quietly, for humanity to reconsider? Vasquez actually laughed, a sound devoid of humor. Chancellor, do you know how many times we offered to modify our approach? How many compromises we proposed? How many times we asked for guidance on more acceptable methods of maintaining peace? She began counting on her fingers. 47 formal requests for clarification on intervention protocols. 32 proposals for joint peacekeeping operations. 18 offers to share our tactical innovations with Council forces. All denied, dismissed, or tabled indefinitely. The ambassador's image flickered slightly as her transmission equipment was apparently being packed around her. You didn't want our cooperation, Chancellors. You wanted our disappearance. Congratulations, you're getting it. This isn't what we intended, Mordok protested. Intent doesn't matter, Vasquez replied. Results do. And the result is that humanity no longer trusts the Council's judgment, no longer believes in the possibility of constructive cooperation, and no longer considers the galaxy worth protecting. Dr. Felter stepped forward desperately. Ambassador, our analysis shows that humanity serves as a crucial stabilizing factor in galactic politics. Your species provides unique capabilities that you've spent decades telling us were primitive, dangerous, and incompatible with civilized society, Vasquez finished. Dr. Felter, we listened. We learned. We adapted our behavior to meet your expectations. She spread her hands in a gesture of finality. If our methods were so crude and unacceptable, then surely the galaxy's advanced civilizations can develop better solutions. We're giving you the opportunity to prove it. The transmission began to degrade as distance increased. Vasquez was apparently aboard a ship moving away from Council space at high speed. This is our final communication, she said, as her image became increasingly static-filled. The Terran Federation wishes the Galactic Council success in creating the peaceful, harmonious galaxy you've always envisioned. The hologram cut out, leaving the Council members staring at empty air. In the silence that followed, long-range sensors registered the departure of the last major human fleet from the inner territories. The Terran Federation's final diplomatic station powered down its transmitters and went dark. Status of our emergency response capabilities, Vexthera asked quietly. Without human rapid response units, our reaction time to sector-wide crises increases from hours to weeks, Kethvar reported. Without human mediators, our diplomatic interventions have a 12% success rate instead of 87%. Without human tactical advisors, our peacekeeping forces are inadequate. Vexthera looked around the chamber at the faces of leaders who had just watched their galaxy's future disappear into the dark between the stars. How long, she asked, before we can recall them? Feltar consulted his analysis pad, though he already knew the answer. Our psychological profiles suggest that humanity's trust, once lost, requires approximately 3 to 5 generations to rebuild. Given the scale of this betrayal from their perspective, perhaps longer. Decades, Mordok whispered. At minimum. Outside the council chamber, the first reports were already arriving. 3 separate wars had begun in the past hour. The largest pirate alliance in galactic history was forming in the outer systems. Trade agreements that had held for centuries were being unilaterally dissolved as species scrambled to protect their own interests. The galaxy was eating itself, and the species that had evolved beyond violence could only watch helplessly as everything they had built crumbled around them. They had wanted humans to be less human. They had gotten their wish. And now it was too late to take it back.